Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of the
Geek Buddies!
Hey! We're here in the calm before the storm that will be Fantastic Four next week, and still in the wake of the Superman reactions and feelings and box office and arguably success for DC Studios. And it is what it is. But we are going to have a lot of fun today talking about all things going on in the world of geekdom. This is our only show for this week, so we're going to cover a lot of topics that went on here this week and get into some more of the DC stuff. That's going to be our main topic, but we'll cover some trailers and some big news, casting news, and what have you. Get some quick thoughts from the guys about all of this stuff and from me. So thank you so much for joining us, and let's introduce ourselves. For those who might be new to the show, I am John Rocha, writer, producer, and host here on the Geek Buddies.
I am Michael Vogel, writer and producer of animated TV shows and movies.
And this is Shannon McClung. I'm an animation writer and a television actor where you can see me right now on HBO Max. Not Max anymore. It's HBO Max again on their first season of The Pit. Second season, we don't know. We hope.
Oh,
definitely the first season, though.
I mean, congratulations on getting all those Emmy nominations for your series, Shannon. Congratulations.
I did do a lot.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I feel like you did. And of course, we got so much to jump into. So the way the show works, for those who might be new, is we bring up some geek news items, and then we head to a main topic. And as I said, our main topic is going to be covering all the stuff that's popped off about DC this week, including Wonder Woman, the Batman, Supergirl, and Superman's continuing box office success domestically, as setting records every day this week almost for its box office. We'll cover all of it and what might be next for DC down the road here. But let's do something. Let's start the show with something we haven't done in quite some time, and that is that's right. It's time for the roundup. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna get into something. Basically, I toss subjects out, and these gentlemen take about 60 seconds and sometimes a little bit over to talk about their reactions to this stuff. So let's hit the first one here. And that is this surprising news that broke yesterday that Taika Waititi is apparently in talks to do a version of Judge Dredd, for God's sakes, with Drew Pearce writing it, who has written recently The Fall Guy and Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Sources say that Pearce and Waititi both grew up with the books and are friends who have been trying to find a project to work together on for years. And remember, the character was already a live action film back in 1995, I Am the Law, with Sylvester Stallone. And then we had a really awesome adaptation, because the less said about that 95 film, the better, in 2012 with Carl Urban, who we're going to talk about a little bit later in our Mortal Kombat conversation, in as Judge Dredd, and Lena Headey as the villain in that one as well. And by the way, people forget that Alex Garland wrote that one as well. So what are your thoughts on this? I go, Michael, to you first. Judge Dredd film, is this the right decision? Is this the right combo with Taika Waititi and Drew Pearce?
Well, I'm always a fan of whatever Taika Waititi is going to do next. Thor, Love and Thunder aside. But do we really need Judge Dredd? Like I get that, like, we're like mining the IP of the universe, and we're going through everything, and the DC, like, we got the DC universe is spoken for, the Marvel universe is spoken for, Invincible is animated on Amazon, and everyone's kind of looking for what they can do. Is Judge Dredd the hero for our time that we need with everything going on in the world right now? I don't know that this is the vibe that I'm looking forward to. That being said, the Taika Waititi Judge Dredd combo, I would have to believe it would not be the Judge Dredd that we are expecting.
Right.
Nor would it be the Judge Dredd that we've gotten before. So while I am curious, this is one of those things that, like, aside from the fact that you said we were going to talk about it on today's Rocha's Roundup, I don't pay it a lot of attention until I see something that makes me interested in it.
Does that mean you feel like it won't actually come to fruition, as a lot of recent Taika Waititi projects? Is that what you're thinking?
I'm not going to spend a lot of time considering this until I hear anything more concrete. Maybe after Taika Waititi's Star Wars and Taika Waititi's Flash Gordon and Taika Waititi's many other things, maybe I'll give this some thought, but not until then.
is Thor 5 possibly? But just to give a little background for those you may not know about Judge Dredd, he is a police officer in the bleak future metropolis of Mega City 1, part of a law enforcement corps that empowers officers to be a judge, jury, and executioner. And the character in his stories were a satire on the judicial system taken to the extreme. So you say we might not need one, but Shannon, we see what's going on in the world today and in our country today. I mean, there is a chance to make a little bit of a statement here. What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of Taika Waititi and Judge Dredd, or do you think, like Michael did, it's not the right time for it? It's not that big of a deal.
Well, a couple of thoughts, and I will try to truncate them to 60 seconds. One, it's a shame that we didn't get a follow-up to that last Judge Dredd movie, because that last Judge Dredd movie with Carl Urban was awesome, and it did not perform. I mean, but I also don't think it got a fair promotional push either. But that was a great film. That was a film that deserved a sequel. This is clearly not going to be that. Judge Dredd is one of those IPs that I feel like filmmakers who are a little bit on the wane attach themselves to. Like, I think about when Bryan Singer was attached to Red Sonja. Like, it's one of those kind of, it is an IP, but I feel like it's not a as big an IP as some of the other IPs that this particular filmmaker has worked on in the past. I do agree with Vogel. Like, what we would see potentially with the Taika Waititi Judge Dredd would be something that we have not seen from that character before. I like Taika Waititi a lot. I think he's a really, really fun filmmaker and has just had a couple of stumbles in a row and might be in a little bit of director jail right now. I think he's going to get out of it. Is this the one that's going to pull him out? I don't know. I mean, he was also attached to like a remake of Akira, Flash Gordon, that Star Wars movie that throw it on the pile of things that are probably not going to see the light of day. But in terms of the social climate, I don't know. I kind of like that we're in this place of optimism, and that's not really what you would get from Judge Dredd.
Can I just feel good? Can I just feel good and happy?
Yeah, that's a fair point. It's a fair point.
If I need to see someone running around taking the law into their own hands with a helmet on and and I can't see their face, I just have to drive downtown. Like, I don't need to go to the movies to see it.
It doesn't want to give me their badge number. Yeah, exactly. I think the other, but I will say this. I like the idea in a vacuum, in that I think Chris Hemsworth's not going to be Thor for very long, much longer, I don't think. Thor leaving the Marvel universe after Secret Wars to take on Judge Dredd with Taika Waititi, I think is an exciting thing, especially if you have Drew Pearce writing the film. So I think it could deliver like this sarcastic, still badass type of look at Extraction, has a little bit of humor within the badassery stuff that's going on that doesn't undercut the stakes. So although he didn't make Extraction, I'm saying that Chris Hemsworth has that kind of energy to bring to a movie. So if this was the avenue they went in, I would be excited to see what they would do. Yeah, I know Taika's in, as Shannon said, director's jail. I like Next Goal Wins. I liked elements of Love and Thunder. If you go back and watch our spoiler review on it, yes, I understand. But Ragnarok is still a goddamn awesome movie.
Listen, Ragnarok's great. Freaking
Jojo Rabbit.
Thank
Jojo
you. I was like the Hitler one. Yeah, Jojo Rabbit is an amazing movie. Like, Taika Waititi is a great and very talented director. Everyone has some movies that don't make it. You know, like Steven Spielberg directed AI. Like, it is what it is. But I think 1941. I think Taika's still got a lot left in the chamber. I would prefer maybe he doesn't use his singular talent on Judge Dredd.
Fair point. I am the law. All right. Anyway, let's move on to the next story here in our round in the rapid fire roundup here. Harry Potter. We got ourselves a first look at this Harry Potter situation here. You see there on the left, that is Dominic McLaughlin as young Harry Potter there, and then you have Nick Frost on the right as Hagrid. Also, they announced a few more new cast members playing key roles. Rory Wilmot will play Neville Longbottom. Amos Kitson will play Dudley Dursley. Louise Beasley will play Madame Rolanda Hooch. And Anton Lesser will play Garrick Ollivander. Oh, Ollivanders. Those were the days. Shannon, your thoughts on these shots of these people here? Do you like the first looks? What are your feelings coming out of it?
For a show that I have no interest in at all, here are my thoughts about Harry Potter. Shannon.
This moves the needle neither one way or the other.
Ooh, okay.
It is. Hey, you know what Hagrid looks like? There's Nick Frost with a wig and a long beard. You know what Harry looks like at 11 years old? This is what that kid looks like. I do think it's interesting that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in the first book, when they're talking about basically the Hogwarts uniforms, the prep school look was something that they did for the movie. Like they always talk about their robes, and the fact that they are staying with that means that, hey, this was something that worked. Like why would we break something that works? But at the same time, like it looks like the exact same uniform. So again, I don't think stills are going to be the thing to again move the needle for me. It'll be when we get to see like footage and how the kids interact with the adults. But yeah, I mean, this is like very expected. So again, not interested in it at all, but I like Nick Frost a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to go next because I know Michael's got a more of a positive point of view on this. Yeah, this looks not exciting at all to me. This is like Temu Harry Potter. This does not look like from the shots. And look, I want to be clear, this is a young kid, so I'm not trying to come after the young kid. It's not his fault. I hope he does great, sending him all kinds of love and support to do great as Harry Potter. That being said, that shot does not inspire me at all. Some people went after him to compare him to a certain talk show host on a certain network that comes on at 6 p.m. PT. And I was not going to go that far with it, but I wasn't excited about it. And the Hagrid one, I think, is even worse. I'll be honest with you. Nothing about this screams. This is like something I saw at a Comic-Con. It looks like cosplay, and I don't have that magic energy that I felt when I saw Robbie Coltrane the first time in some shots of him as Hagrid. So, yeah, not great first looks for me. But, Michael, why are we wrong?
I mean, listen, y'all can be negative all you want. I'm curious to see how this goes. I actually think I don't 100% agree or disagree with either of you. I think Nick Frost looks good as Hagrid. I think the kid looks like Harry Potter. I'm like, all right, cool. I don't know. That's amazing. What actually casting Partagast from Andor as Ollivander is some great casting. First of all, I'm like, well, that man just tore up my screen this year in season 2 of Andor. Let him give every kid the wands and maybe give him a bigger role. Like, give me all of Ollivander if Partagast is going to do it. The thing that actually got me the most intrigued is some of the stills of the Dursleys that are flying around because what was interesting about him is I saw a picture of Dudley Dursley wearing like a fucking windbreaker. And like it just sort of was giving me the vibe of like, oh, this is more modern day. Like when we watched Chris Columbus's Harry Potter and we saw the Dursleys, they looked a little bit more classic, like out of a British storybook, like a Roald Dahl story that you would have seen. And seeing them sort of modernized a little bit made me go, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like that is a family that I would see shopping at Tesco in the UK and go, those are some fucking assholes. And so I that kind of made me, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's a little bit of a different vibe. Look, at the end of the day, Harry Potter has the challenge that any really successful IP has. The same challenge that every time you do a new Superman suit has is we all want something different. Don't show us the same thing that you did before. But also, if you change it too much, we're going to get really pissed and say it doesn't look the way it's supposed to look. So yeah, Harry Potter looking like Harry Potter in a robe, Nick Frost looking like the Hagrid we've seen before. That's to be expected a little bit. But I think in some of these other ways, like with the Dursleys, I'm a little bit intrigued about where it's going.
Okay, fair point. Let's move on to this one. We got our cast or at least our top 2 cast members for the Legend of Zelda live action movie here. Nintendo's confirmed the lead actors there on a social media post from Nintendo legend Shigeru Miyamoto. Zelda will be played by Bo Bragison, who we see there at the top, and Link by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. Bergeson previously appeared in the Netflix fantasy adventure series Renegade Nell, as well as the BBC crime drama adaptation The Jetty, which I saw recently because it starred one of Doctor Who's most recent companions. And Ainsworth, aged just 16, has only a handful of roles to his name, but was in Netflix's horror series The Haunting of Bly Manor. So you look at these shots here, Mike, and they're wearing clothes that are similar to what they might be wearing there in the game, in the movie rather. So what are your thoughts on these? Do you like these choices?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're gonna get into this chat a little bit later with the DC news with Wonder Woman and who James Gunn is looking at. I think like you cast somebody who has done a few TV shows or maybe is like TV successful but hasn't made the jump to movie star yet. That seems to be the best way to go when you're casting a character that a fan base has loved in a different medium for decades. Like, although we have never seen a live action Link or Zelda, there are at least 2 generations of gamers that have a very, very, very strong attachment to these 2 characters.
That's true.
And so casting bigger names in those roles, I think, runs a risk. And so I know very little about these 2. I know very little about their acting talent. They look fine, but like I actually look at that as a bonus. Legend of Zelda, that's like, as opposed to Judge Dredd, where I'm like, do we really need a Judge Dredd? A Zelda movie sounds very exciting, but that is a very small Triforce that you are trying to land right there. Like, you could do this wrong in a lot of ways. So I'm anxious to see more. But this casting makes me go, okay, let's see where they go.
Yeah, Shannon, these are experienced actors, maybe not well known necessarily, but certainly experienced. What are your thoughts on the looks and the of these 2 as Zelda and Link?
So I played that first Legend of Zelda game, like back with the original Nintendo Entertainment System, when all the cartridges were gray, but when you got Zelda, it was gold. So there was something so unique about Zelda. Knowing that they are casting on the younger side, like they are. I mean, they look like they're probably at 14, 15.
Zelda is 21.
Oh my gosh.
And the kid is 16. The boy is 16. Okay. So, yeah.
So again, not 14, but they both can drive in the US. But they, I think casting someone new for this is probably a really good idea, because whenever you cast a fairly known person in a role in a pretty iconic role, and this is their first at bat with a live action version, they're bringing all their positive and potentially negative baggage with them. So having 2 pretty brand new people, I think, is the way to go. I mean, again, on the superhero side, there was that kind of model that if it's a hero who's in a mask, it's a known person. If it's a hero who doesn't wear a mask, it's somebody new. And I think that was the right way to go. And like, in terms of what this movie is potentially going to be, I mean, for years Nintendo said, like, we're not doing it. Right. So to know on the back of the Super Mario Brothers movie success, whether you liked it or not, it made a truckload of money. Knowing that they are dipping their toe further into this, I think is potentially exciting, and I hope it's good.
I do too. I like the look of these 2. I think they fit for what you're going to go for. There were rumors that Hunter Schafer was possibly going to be cast as Zelda, but I never put any stock in that, considering our political climate now. It would be an interesting decision for a major company to do that. Unfortunately, right now, I don't think that's a place that they're going. That being said, it also may be that they wanted newer people that people didn't know too much about, so that they could actually have a chance to do what they need to do with this. And look, Wes Ball is directing this, and he's a phenomenal director, as we saw from the recent Planet of the Apes movie, and is able to get great performances from these young actors who are not well known. So to me, I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to create here. Jurassic World's Derek Connolly writing the screenplay doesn't make me so excited, but certainly Wes Ball directing it does. So hopefully these are the right choices, and it happens here, because I think the film is set to launch December 7th. Wait, the May was okay from March. So it's May 7th is the new date, May 7th of 2027. So we got a while to go. And this young girl, Bo Braxton, will probably be 23 by the time this thing comes out. So interesting to see how this all turns out. Let's move on to the next one here. This is kind of a fascinating story. Captain Planet is getting a live action adaptation. And no, before you assume that it's Don Cheadle coming back to play the role, it is not. It is a Captain Planet live action series that is happening here, an adaptation. It is with Netflix. They've landed it as a development deal. It will be with Greg Berlanti's Berlanti Productions, Leonardo DiCaprio's Appian Way, and WBT, where Berlanti Productions is based. It will be showrun by co-creator and executive producer of the Mrs. Davis series, Tara Hernandez. She will be writing the adaptation as well of this 1990 environmental superhero that ran on TBS in syndication for 6 seasons. I never watched one episode of this, but I knew about it. Shannon, Captain Planet, yes or no? Live action adaptation. Oh, and one more thing. Is John Cena the choice here? I mean, I feel like John Cena could be the choice, but anyway, your thoughts on this, Shannon?
It's not. It would not be on my bingo card. I mean, again, the film has been in development for a very, very long time, and like when they got DiCaprio's company attached, like that was a big win because DiCaprio is a very noted environmentalist. I think it's a very small bullseye to get it right. Again, when you had said that, I'm like, the only way I'm interested in this is if it's Don Cheadle. I mean, it was
a great.
It was on
sketch. Yeah.
When I wasn't really watching a lot of animation at that time, but I do know the rings and everything coming together to form Captain Planet. Wouldn't be for me. But again, like maybe they have found a way to crack the story that's going to make it interesting. Again, when they announced a Lego movie, it was like, how are you going to do that? Ended up being great. So maybe they found the secret door to make Captain Planet a success. We'll see.
Michael, this was originally set up at Paramount Pictures in 2016 with Glenn Powell co-writing before he became Glenn Powell, and with Jono Matt potentially starring in the project as well. So, Glenn Powell potentially starring with Jono Matt co-writing with Glenn Powell. So, your thoughts on this, Michael? Do we need it? Are people clamoring for an environmental superhero right now? I don't know if this is the time. Your thoughts?
Well, we are destroying the planet right now, so there is that. The only thing that I can guarantee you about this TV show is that when it comes out, the far right is going to say, why are we politicizing things? Do we really need to watch a show about the environment? Why is this show so woke? That's my guarantee. That like the low-hanging fruit is, oh, they took this cartoon and now it's a TV show and now it has this environmental message. That's crazy. Captain Planet shouldn't have an environmental message. It's gonna that we know is gonna happen. First of all, I don't know how you guys didn't watch this show. Come on, Captain Planet, he's a hero, gonna take pollution down to zero. I mean, like, it was a banger. I watched a lot of Captain Planet. It always kind of bugged me because Captain Planet as a character actually doesn't have a ton of personality. Like the kids have the personality and they do a lot of cool shit with their rings. And then at the end, when shit gets kind of crazy, they all call Captain Planet. He swoops in, saves the day. He's out. So I'm curious to see what the show does and how it sort of levels up this story. But actually, I think it could be a lot of fun. I think Captain Planet as a TV show on Netflix gives them a lot more leeway to do a lot more things tonally than a big 4-quadrant live action movie. I think a Captain Planet feature coming out, you'd be hard pressed to do that in a way that doesn't come across as just super cheap. But in a live action series on Netflix, is it a little tongue in cheek? Is it a little campy? Do they sort of ground it and give you like a heavier story, but it kind of like comes through? Like, I don't know what the plan is. But I do think that Captain Planet as a live action TV series is potentially interesting, but also because I watched a lot more animation than both of you, I'm definitely more of the audience that would go and check it out.
Well, to me, I go back to Tara Hernandez. That's the thing that gets me interested in this. Yeah, Captain Planet is not really my cup of tea. I mean, I'm like, okay, environmental superhero, I got it. But like for me, I think this is something that with Tara Hernandez, it makes me interested because she was a writer producer on The Big Bang Theory, then the Young Sheldon spinoff, which I have gotten into because I like George and Mandy's first marriage. I like that first season, so I've gone back and gotten into Young Sheldon. And I'm not the biggest fan of Big Bang Theory because some of their stuff, but I do know that that's a very popular show. So clearly, she understands how to appeal to a broader base, and she worked with Damon Lindelof on the Mrs. Davis series. So she's got a lot of credibility and a lot of experience trying able to appealing to a larger cross section of people. But you add in the Netflix thing. This is really smart by Netflix. You know, on one side, Netflix is WWE and UFC and all of this stuff and boxing and all of this right-wing stuff. And then on the other side, they've got this other documentaries about exploring what's going on here with the environment, what's going on in the world, you know. So they're this is a really smart business plan. The Netflix is appealing to everyone, so you can't really come after them for one thing because they go like, well, what about all this stuff? And so it's a smart move to do this in this direction. And I think it also appeals for DiCaprio to keep pushing the message of environmentalism throughout. So yeah, could be fascinating. I think it'll really depend on who they cast as Captain Planet. That's going to be real interesting to put like a tent pole in the ground, you know? Well, let's move on to something that Michael is possibly excited about. I don't know. My Little Pony is getting a live action adaptation here. It's a live action feature. This was broken by the Hot Mike's Jeff Snyder. He broke the news on his newsletter. It is getting ready to gallop onto the big screen here from Amazon MGM Studios and Hasbro Entertainment. Variety confirmed the news as well. This will be the first live action project for this 43-year-old property, which has captivated several generations. The project is still in development with no creative team in place, so we can't really judge it through that prism. But Michael, you spent years as an executive producer on My Little Pony and the most recent movie. Your thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, I can have a lot of opinions on this before they have a creative team. There's a lot of thoughts here. As someone who worked on My Little Pony for a long time and co-wrote the last feature film that came out, when we made the last My Little Pony feature and we were trying to figure out what the movie was going to be, Hasbro being Hasbro, we absolutely talked about, are we going to do that Smurfs Sonic thing that every animated movie does, like do the ponies come to the real world and we're going to do CG ponies? And one of the reasons we didn't do it at the time is because Hasbro was just not willing to pony up the cash for that. So at the end of the day, after doing a lot of like animation tests and some other stuff, we decided to just do like an upscaled version of the show and do a 2D traditional animated movie. And I think that was the right move at the time for the fan base. I also think that was budgetarily where we were going to get the most bang for our buck. So on the one hand, as someone who does have an obvious fondness for My Little Pony, I'm excited that they're getting clearly a bigger budget at bat for a feature release. Do I think a live action pony? Like, I don't know if when they say live action, I'm assuming we're not doing talking horses that are real. Like, I'm assuming we're doing the live action I mean like real horses, John. Real horses.
Oh, right. Yes.
Real horses. I do think we're doing the whole, some form of like CG, like a Sonic or whatever, like the CG ponies, and the ponies come to our world and they teach everybody friendship and whatever. And there's like a version of that movie that makes sense. Do I think Hasbro will do a great job with this? I hope Hasbro has as little control over it as possible. I think they will have a lot of control over it, but I don't know that they are going to nail it. I'm also curious to see who the ponies are. I mean, like what you put up, the picture that you put up was the main 6 ponies from G4, which is what I worked on. Yeah. Since then, Hasbro went in a whole new direction, had a new cast of ponies that were in the CG movie that was on Netflix and the CG series that followed that on Netflix. I think that series had less success than My Little Pony Friendship is Magic did. So I think as they are developing this live action feature, my guess would be they're going to go back to the well of the most popular ponies that they've ever had, which is those 6, the main 6, if you will. And so I think they're going to use those characters. It'll be really interesting to see. I don't think they'll use the voice actresses from the series. I'm sure they're going to stunt cast the ponies. And they're going to do all the stuff that a big studio does when they do a big studio release. Listen, if they want to call me, I'll write it. Hey. I think I know how to do it. But other than that, like, I'll be really curious to see what this is. And do I think that Hasbro and Amazon MGM will bring the right team in that will capture the magic of what made My Little Pony so popular and gave us the bronies and did all of the things that My Little Pony Friendship is Magic did? Doubtful. But we'll see.
All right. Shannon, your thoughts on a live action My Little Pony? I was looking at, I kind of saw this as kind of maybe somewhat of a simulated CG version of it, but what are your thoughts on live action My Little Pony? Do we need it? Is it necessary? Do you think it should happen?
Well, it sounds expensive. if you're going to, if you're really going to do it correctly, it sounds like it would be an expensive endeavor. Now, Mikey, the series that followed Friendship is Magic, were they the same? Were they the same ponies, or did they just recast?
No, totally new characters. It took place like long time after My Ponies. It was a
Okay.
whole new cast of characters that were having to learn about friendship in a new way. Listen,
So no Rainbow
Earth
Dash,
Ponies,
no Twilight
the Earth
Sparkle.
Ponies and the Earth Ponies and the Pegasi and the Unicorn had all spread apart, and they were living in different areas, and they all had different beliefs about each other. And then in the movie, they all came back together and realized that they all should be friends again, and they were starting to learn friendship all over again.
Oh.
But yes, no Rainbow Dash. No, the new series was no Twilight Sparkle, no Rainbow Dash, no Pinkie Pie, no Rarity, no Fluttershy, no Applejack.
So in terms of your potential audience, I think if they do go to the classic ponies that Mikey wrote, that you have a better chance of getting the bronies who were very much into that series than you do with the younger kids who maybe grew up on it. I think now those younger kids are in their 20s, and a live action My Little Pony may not be up their alley. Now I could be wrong. Like maybe what they're going to put out there is so intriguing and is so nostalgic that they want to go back and sort of, you know, relive some of those childhood adventures that they got to go on with these characters. But in terms of an audience, I think it's interesting. Like who is this going to be for? Like obviously you are going for a family audience, and is My Little Pony, and again Mike would be able to speak to this better than I would, is My Little Pony post Friendship is Magic, post the series that followed it, is it a big enough brand to bring in a new fan base? That would be my curiosity.
Well, I think what you're not considering in the fact is that My Little Pony is actually a 30-year, you wouldn't say this about Transformers. Like you wouldn't say, well, is Transformers big enough? Like Transformers is a brand that came out in the 80s, has had multiple animated versions. It did have the live action franchise. So like that is different than My Little Pony. But what that live action franchise did when it came out, like that, you had an entire generation of people who had grown up with Transformers, who took their kids to see Transformers. And then those kids became Transformers fans. Now, My Little Pony didn't have the live action franchise, but My Little Pony did go on a similar trajectory, whereas My Little Pony was big in the 80s. People grew up. They all remembered fondly having the ponies. My Little Pony Friendship is Magic came out and did for the brand the same thing at the time that the Michael Bay movies had done for Transformers, which is they gave an entire new generation a serious love for My Little Pony. And My Little Pony Friendship is Magic was for little girls at the beginning, but the demographic went from 3 to 6-year-olds to 3 to 9-year-olds to 3 to 40-year-old men. Like it was like it became like a massive there was a couple of years at Comic-Con where you saw more people dressed in My Little Pony costumes than you saw in a lot of other brands. So the love of the brand is pretty massive. And I think what they did with the Netflix series squandered a little bit of it. But if you put those main 6 characters up there, I don't think that this is some little girls liked it a long time ago, but they've grown out of it. Like, I think these 6 characters in My Little Pony are as popular to an audience as Optimus Prime, Starscream, Megatron, Bumblebee. Like, I think they're huge. So I think the brand has massive potential. And I think if they got the movie right, it could be huge. My question is whether or not they're going to get the movie right. The other issue is when you do these live action things where animated characters come to the real world and you have like the CG characters, keep in mind that most movies that do that, it's Paddington, right, and maybe like his aunt and, a couple other small characters that are there in specific scenes. Sonic, the first movie was just Sonic. Then it was Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. Then they brought in Shadow because they kept getting successful. My Little Pony, you have 6 characters that all have to come in and be CG for, I would assume, and if they do the whole thing where it's just one of them, I think they miss out on stuff. So there's a lot of things that if I was in the room, I'd be like, here's some questions I have about how this movie is going to get made. But we will see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a strong opinion one way or another. Hopefully they do a good movie. My only thing is I think the smart move would be to go the Muppets route. Make it like a Muppets movie where they're having these adventures and running into these people who are famous people. And there are probably quite a lot of mothers and fathers who are actors and very famous actors in Hollywood who have kids who are into My Little Pony, or they were into My Little Pony in the 1980s or 90s when they were growing up and would love to do like a cameo or a couple of scenes to be a part of it. That could be real interesting. And of course, the voice actors as well. Tara Strong coming in, all the actors have been part of it. You could even have an Emily Blunt moment. Those could be interesting when she was the star of the last one. So I think there's ways to go with this that could make a lot of sense. And I do think Amazon MGM, I think I trust them a little more than Netflix or just about anybody else this side of Apple TV right now, because they're understanding their brands. I mean, with Bond, they went with Denis Villeneuve. That's like an incredible decision. So hopefully the right people are in place to put this in motion and understand, as you said, Michael, the fervent base that they have of fans who are going to be watching this with hawkeyes the whole time. So
they should get Nolan.
Christopher Nolan's My Little Pony.
Yeah.
Oh, God, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Emerald Fennell wouldn't be bad. I'd be reaching out to her immediately. Shannon, one last thing for you here. Assassin's Creed. It is happening apparently again. Netflix, nearly 5 years after entering into a content agreement with Ubisoft, has ordered an Assassin's Creed live action series based on the video game. The project will be created, showrun, and executive produced by Roberto Patino, who did DMZ and Westworld, and David Weiner, who did the recent Halo series and Homecoming. Assassin's Creed, for those you don't know, is a high-octane thriller centered on the secret war between two shadowy factions, one set on determining mankind's future through control and manipulation. We've heard that before. While the other fights to preserve free will, and they follow its characters across pivotal historical events as they battle to shape humanity's destiny. And this follows Netflix's pattern now of doing more of these video game adaptations like Castlevania, Cyberpunk, Splinter Cell, which is coming up, Death Watch there, and of course the most recent Arcane. So Shannon, we did get that Michael Fassbender film, which was pretty terrible, and you're a massive Assassin's Creed fan. So do you like this idea? Do you think it works?
If they're willing to spend the cash to do it right, yes. Because when you're playing the Assassin's Creed games, I mean, especially the earlier ones, like you like they start to get away from sort of the present day set stuff. But it's basically you've got a guy who has genetic memories of one of his ancestors. He hops in this machine and it takes him back to those ancient times where you go on these adventures. As a game, it's great because you don't spend a ton of time in the present day. Like the whole point of the game is to get into the past. I mean, you're going into the past to find a thing or to find out the memory of a thing. So in present day, you can go get the thing. The present day part is the most boring part because it's just like you're kind of running from one set to another. It's when you get in and you're able to go on these missions, and the game design teams did such an incredible job of recreating these ancient locales. That is, I think, the mistake that they made with the film is they didn't do a direct adaptation of any of the games, which I think was probably the correct idea, the stronger idea. But then the big climactic battle, I mean, it was Michael Fassbender modern day. Like I think when you're looking at an idea like Assassin's Creed for a movie, that does make sense. That you want your hero in your hero's body to do the final battle, whereas in the games it's not that satisfying. So I think that is kind of when you're adapting a game like this for the screen, you're trying to find the best way to tell that story. The movie by and large didn't work. I mean, the first still we got of Michael Fassbender in that assassin's robe, he looked incredible. Yeah. But the movie itself was just a little underwhelming. I mean, is it as a show, like sort of a week-to-week adventure? Could that be really successful? I think so. It just depends on production value and basically how they're allocating story time, modern day versus the past.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. If they go like the Squid Game route, where you're really putting the money in and you're kind of finding these actors and making it more of a global approach to the show, I think you've got success written all over it if you find the right showrunner to put this in motion, because there is a lot. I'm playing my first Assassin's Creed game ever in Shadows, and it is an unusual game to play. So how are they going to kind of find the best parts of all these games that have come before and make it work? It will be interesting to see. Michael, your thoughts on this? Do you like the idea of an Assassin's Creed, another live action Assassin's Creed adaptation, this time as a series?
I mean, I think it's probably going to be better as a series. But as opposed to what I was saying about some other stuff, I do think Assassin's Creed has a movie franchise in it. We've not seen it.
Oh, right, yeah.
But it's there. Like, there's absolutely a version of Assassin's Creed that could be a giant 4-quadrant film. They've not made it, and they've squandered it. I also think there's a really good potential for a great Assassin's Creed series. Assassin's Creed is untapped gaming potential.
Yes.
And I think that we're now in a place where in recent years, Hollywood is taking the video game adaptations much more seriously.
Yeah. True.
And giving them the bigger budgets, giving them the higher IP treatment. And so, yeah, I think they should keep trying to crack Assassin's Creed until they crack it.
Okay.
Like that, it's absolutely, once they crack it, it's going to be massive.
Right. Good points. All right. Well, there you go. That ends this most recent segment.
Yeah, we're at 40 minutes. Was that
I know.
rapid fire? Was that? It was like Rocha's roundabout fire. I'd say.
Yeah, I couldn't corral the horses and put them back in the ring. They kept going. These two horses.
Listen, I need a stopwatch. I need you to tell me when to stop. If you don't tell me when to stop, listen, this horse just gonna keep going. This horse gonna keep running.
And even the stopwatch, it's not guaranteed to work.
Yeah, right, exactly. I didn't think the My Little Pony thing would be the longest ride around the stable. But anyway, let's get into some trailers. Shannon McClung, take it away.
So we've got 4 trailers today, and our first look is at a sequel to another IP. This is Mortal Kombat 2. So what was it? 2021. We got a big budget-ish version of Mortal Kombat where we got to see some of our favorite characters like Liu Kang and Sonya Blade and Jax and Scorpion in the form of Hiroyuki Sanada. Someone we didn't get, which a lot of the fans had issue with, was Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
And that's who we are getting front and center for the sequel. And it is played by the great Carl Urban. So that first movie, some people liked it. There were some really good aspects to it. Josh Lawson's Kano made Kano the most fun character ever. You also got Louis Tan as Cole Young. Who's Cole Young in Mortal Kombat? Well, he was nobody until that movie. So why they chose to fabricate a protagonist when you have a catalog of characters made no sense. So going in, it looks like Carl Urban's Johnny Cage is going to be front and center for this one. Look, the movie's the story of this movie is we're going to another realm and we're fighting for the survival of our planet. Based off of the trailer, Carl Urban's Johnny Cage looks like a very fun protagonist to see that world through. So why don't we throw it over to let's throw it over to Johnny first. What did you think of our first look at Mortal Kombat 2?
Yeah, my reaction's up on the channel. I was like, sure. I wasn't sure because remember I saw this one and wasn't a big fan. I was actually on set for the first one. It was my last job. I collided was doing a set visit for that film, and I thought it was going to be so good, and then it was not. Man, it was painful how bad that film was. So the Cole Young stuff didn't work. And then you're right, Kano did work. Josh Lawson, who's great right now on St. Dennis Medical. If you guys aren't watching that series, do yourself a favor and do so. So to see that the rumors are that he's coming back to be a part of this sequel somehow, and you saw him in the trailer, was great to see. But it's the Carl Urban. If you can't get Gerard Butler, you get Carl Urban. And both of those guys just appealed to me on so many levels. I try to watch everything they're in because I love them so much. And so he's got the right amount of attitude, the right approach. I like that Johnny Cage is a reluctant player in the game, which is a nice twist for this character, and that he's like an actor who doesn't have any skills. So he's trying to figure this out as it goes along. Is Hiroyuki Sanada's character, is he being like a Mr. Miyagi to him? I don't know what that's all about, but I like it. But more than anything else, it's the visuals here that stunned the shit out of me. I was so surprised that a film that I always think is kind of a lower quality type approach to this one had some beautiful imagery and cinematography to it. So to me, overall, I like the energy. I like the fun in this trailer. I like the Carl Urban approach, and I dig what we're getting visually from it. So yeah, I'm in.
Mikey, based off of your faces, I'm guessing what you're going to say here. Do you think this looks excellent or like a fatality?
I did not have the epic cinematography reaction that Johnny had. I said, well, this looks like a movie where they did a whole bunch of digital sets, and it is what it is. This is what we're getting. Look, when I was a kid, I went to go to theater to see that first Mortal Kombat movie. I have very fond memories. It's a garbage movie, but boy, that opening theme song slapped. It was great. the pandemic was just wrapping up. Movie theaters were just opening again. Mortal Kombat came out. I was excited to go to the movie theaters. It's a bad movie.
Yeah.
Carl Urban is great, but much like Gerard Butler, when I see him on TV, I'm excited. And when I see him in a movie, I have questions.
How dare you?
Here's the thing, though. It's Mortal Kombat. Like, I watched this trailer. I was not wowed by any of the visuals, but it's fun. It's silly. Carl Urban is tongue-in-cheek. And honestly, it's probably garbage. And honestly, it's not going to matter. People fucking love a Mortal Kombat movie. Like, it's
true.
Like, this Mortal Kombat falls into that Fast and the Furious, Transformers, you could argue Jurassic Park, of a franchise that the quality of the film is less important than the vibes. And if this movie gives you the Mortal Kombat vibes, people are going to come out and it could be the worst movie with a plot that makes not even a lick of sense. And you will go onto social media and people be like, I had a great time. What do you expect from Mortal Kombat? It's fucking great.
Yeah.
See those fatalities? I fucking loved it. So it kind of doesn't matter. But no, I think this one did look better than the first one based on the trailer, but it would be hard to look worse.
You think this is garbage? That ain't garbage. That is gorgeous cinematography. You're insane.
We'll leave that up to our fans to say.
How dare you?
What Mortal Kombat, this version, this was the one that came out in 2021, this new franchise, what it was able to do that the old versions weren't able to do is they leaned into that R rating.
Oh, yeah.
Where you are getting the bloodiest, grossest, body splitting fatalities. Anything you've seen in the game, you can now see it in your theater. But Mortal Kombat 2 comes out October 24th, just 2 weeks before we're getting this movie. This is the second look we got at Tron Ares. So this one, we get a little bit more of Jared Leto's character. We find out he is a program called Ares, and basically Evan Peters, evil CEO, is using him as a potential weapon of war. Bringing soldiers from the digital realm into the real world. What the teaser for this did was show us something that we hadn't seen in the previous two iterations on the big screen, was the Tron world, Tron vehicles, Tron soldiers in our world. So visually, this is a very stunning trailer. Based off of what we're seeing, and again, Tron does not have the best history of big screen performance, but this looks like it's a story that we have seen before, sort of, the CEO trying to make as much money unleashes something they don't understand. Right. Maybe Tron has finally cracked the formula for a good story. But Mikey, why don't we throw it over to you first? What did you think of our second look at Tron Ares?
Now, this is a trailer where I will say the visuals blew me away. Okay. Johnny can have his Mortal Kombat 2 green screen extravaganza. I'm going to take Tron Ares. This trailer gave us more story, so it contextualized what the teaser gave us. But it's like, this is the Tron world and our world collide. And I think Shannon is kind of right on the money. Look, Tron is an odd geek franchise. There is so much love for this franchise. For a first movie that came out and didn't do great when it came out, but boy, did people who loved it. So much so that it got a second movie that came out that didn't do great, but boy, the people that loved it. And then we got a dance party at Disney's California Adventure. We have a Tron roller coaster in multiple Disney parks. We had a Tron animated series that was really, really cool on Disney XD. And now we're getting this third movie. And I think Shannon's not wrong that, like, I watched this one and I was like, well, now this looks like they got it. I'm going to go back and watch the first two just to get myself amped up for this one. And I don't even like the first two. I'm very in, and it is, like, for a franchise that's this old to give us a movie where you go, I have not only never seen that never even occurred to me that you could do that. Like, that's exciting. So I think they definitely have a lot of people's attention right now. So hopefully the story matches the visuals.
Johnny, does this belong in our world, or should we throw it back on the grid?
Oh way, you should absolutely have it in our world. This was stunning, utterly stunning. Yeah, you're right, Mike. I mean, the comparison between the Mortal Kombat and Tron, there's no comparison at all. But
listen, you can have your Mortal Kombat. I'll give it to you.
I'm saying, but I still enjoy the visuals in both. This one though, is much more stunning. I mean, if you watch my reaction, literally that last shot of all those missiles or bombs going out into the world, just jaw-dropping stuff to see here. And they kept the energy of a Tron movie. And it seems like they elevated past what happened before in Tron Legacy, which I really appreciate. I thought it's an uneven film. There are some really good stuff in Tron Legacy, and there's some not some good stuff in Tron Legacy.
There's that score.
The score is amazing, and Nine Inch Nails feels like they brought it for this. I mean,
it does. Yeah, yes, for sure.
Yeah, and I like the red hue of all of this, and I love the idea that finally they're coming out into our world. What's that going to be all about? And Evan Peters, a good actor who's slowly building a name with multiple projects. I like him as essentially the Miguel Ferrer of the RoboCop world in the Tron world, which I like because there's shades of it. Even Jared Leto bursting through glass, very similar to I forget the Joanna Cassidy in Blade Runner doing that as well. But then you get Jodie Turner-Smith in here. Her role is possibly the person who is tracking down the rogue AI that is Jared Leto and what he's playing, and then coming up against the dude, Jeff Bridges, who is only Flynn by name, really. This is the dude, and all of this he's experiencing. So they're putting that on the table. So it's fascinating. And Greta Lee, who was really good in past lives. So you got a strong cast here, and the way they framed them in the trailer looks exciting to me, plus the visuals, plus the music. So I think you guys are right. I think they finally maybe have cracked this thing to deliver a damn good movie that's going to be beloved by all and not just be some kind of guilty pleasure film, which those previous two films kind of are.
I just want to see them change the gels at all those Tron coasters at Disney and change it from the blue light to the red light. Like, my guess is that we will be getting that for the rest of the year after this movie comes out. But Tron Ares comes out October 10th. That brings us to our first real footage from Stranger Things Season 5. We got a quick little teaser basically announcing the dates of when the episodes were going to drop. But now we actually get some footage. And in terms of like an epic being set in the 1980s, you want to talk about something that you didn't think you were going to get. It's this. I mean, you see the production level for what this show is going to be. Again, we've seen these characters grow up from children. Now they're all in their early 40s. I mean, it just looks like a truly epic finale to a great journey, even though the second chapter of that journey was a little meh. But Johnny, why don't we throw it over to you first? What did you think of our first real look at Stranger Things Season 5?
I got emotional watching this trailer, man. I have a feeling David Harbour ain't making it out of the season. And it was great to see the kids back, even though they're all arguably adults in their 20s and whatever. There's still emotion going on. You really sense that this is the end, and the way they're interacting with each other feels that way in the scenes they chose in the show. I love that Vecna is a massive part of this trailer until he just hanging over everything until he finally shows up at the end. The whole thing with Will rubbing the back of his head, what is that all about? And then the idea that you've got the military in control of the city now. How are they going to carry their stuff out to be able to do this? I have a feeling this is going to be less kind of like jokey kitty type of thing, and this is going to be much more serious with the occasional jokes or situational humor. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to get. And just overall, just a lot of emotion coming out of it that gets me excited to see what the end result's going to be and who's going to live and who's going to die.
Mikey, Stranger Things, final season. Are they going to turn the upside down, right side up?
First of all, I love that you two grumpy old men are talking about these kids being old but playing high school as if we didn't grow up watching 90210 and every other show that had like people in their 30s playing seniors in high school. Like, this is new that this is happening.
I didn't say I was grumpy about it. I just was pointing.
Well, Shannon, little Mr. Okay.
Is that my grumpy impression?
Yeah. When the teaser for Stranger Things Season 5 came out, I got so amped that I went back and started doing a rewatch, and I tore through all 4 seasons in a couple weeks. And look, there's a few bumpy patches, but honestly, I disagree that that it kind of got not as good. Like, I think season 1 is great for what it is. It's brand new. Season 2 is a great continuation of that and kind of levels things up. season 3, the mall, July 4th, like all of the Russians. Like if you grew up in the 80s, it's a little cheesier, but like I had a blast with all that. And I think season 4 with the Vecna stuff and kind of going full Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger, I think they nailed it, and loved that the last few episodes were all basically features in their own right.
Yeah.
And to Johnny's point, like ending season 4 with we've ripped a hole in Hawkins that is undeniable, and the shit has all hit the fan. I mean, they really teed this up for an epic finale, and I think this trailer delivered on what we are expecting to see. Yeah. Like they had a bunch of threads that they wove together each season, each season did their own thing, but with Vecna, they kind of started to bring everything back together. I know that Will Byers and his time in the Upside Down from the first season is going to play a big part. And especially when you watch the entire series in a short period of time, like I did, Will's kind of constant connection, along with him slowly realizing he's gay and in love with Mike and coming out of the closet. I think a lot of that is going to play a big part in season 5. So I'm amped. I think I'm glad that it's ending. Like, I'm glad that it's coming to a close and that they get to do this big epic finale. And I think it's awesome. Like we said, when the teaser came out, that they're basically, Netflix is like, we're going to go ahead and own Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. We're going to give you 3 releases of this thing. They're all going to be massive episodes. Like, this Stranger Things is a unicorn in TV. Like, it's really unique. Like, Stranger Things feels like we are getting like the energy of a final chapter in a feature film franchise, but we're getting it in a TV show. I think they're going to stick the landing because I don't think that they've ever really had any major missteps in the series. So I am stoked and I can't wait. And I can't wait for us all to talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, as Mikey already said, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Stranger Things season 5. And that brings us to our last trailer. We get our first look at Hoppers. This is Pixar's latest effort that's going to be coming out in March. This is from Daniel Chong, the creator of We Bare Bears. But basically what happens when you take the consciousness of a teenager, you put them in a robotic beaver and set them loose in a pond. Is it kind of like Avatar? Well, according to the characters in the movie, in the trailer, they say it's not. We'll let you be the judge. Johnny, let's go to Mikey. Yeah. Mikey, what did you think of our first look at Hoppers?
Man, this looks great. Like, this looks, I know, like, I haven't seen Elio yet because I was traveling, so I'm like going to try and catch it this weekend. But I know that, Elio didn't tear up the box office a lot, and a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, as far as the director leaving and it kind of changing direction and like what it was going to be about versus what we got at the end of the day, there's been a lot of discussion about it. With Hoppers, this just looks like the Pixar that I want to see. This trailer gave me a interesting concept that I've never seen before, sort of. And then the second that they were describing it, and you're like, so we've built this thing and we can put our consciousness in it. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is kind of like Avatar, but with a beaver. And when they said, so it's like Avatar, it's nothing like Avatar. I was like, oh, okay, they're a step ahead of me. I'm into this. And I'm like, okay, so she's going to go into the beaver. There's going to be an environmental message. She's going to want to help stuff. But when that bear showed up in that trailer to eat that beaver, and she put a stop to it, and they were both like, what are you doing? And that part is like, well, I mean, he's got to eat. He caught me. Like, this is, do you want to eat me? No, I don't want to eat you now. It's weird. Like, I was like, oh, this is going to be not what we're expecting it to be. And like, for me, that's one of the things I miss with some Pixar entries where you're like, okay, you did a good job. Like, nobody can doubt the fact that Pixar makes amazing looking movies. But that kind of like, I'm laughing. That was really funny, but I'm also thrown off a little bit because I don't know exactly where this movie is going to go or what kind of lesson it's going to teach me before it makes me cry my eyes out. This looks like it has all of those elements. So when I first heard about this concept, I will say this is like my trick with Pixar is when you hear a concept and you think, I don't know if I'm going to like this, that's usually where they win. Like when I heard that Pixar was like, well, we're going to do a movie about a rat who wants to be a chef. I'm like, yeah, that sounds weird. I don't know if I'm going to want that movie. Well, they did great. So we girl goes into the mind of a beaver. Yeah, okay. Then I saw the trailer. I'm like, nope, I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Johnny, Pixar has had a rocky go the last few entries. Do you think Hoppers is the one to get them back on track?
it's weird because the animation style has shades of Elio to it. The bigger eyes, the rounder faces, and whatever. So it feels Disney-like, not necessarily. Well, I guess I wouldn't say that because Woody has pretty big round eyes. I don't know, just something weird about the animation style that's very similar to stuff I've seen in the Disney pipeline, not necessarily consistently in the Pixar pipeline. So it's an interesting choice in terms of the look of the animation. That being said, yes, this is a fantastic trailer. I had a lot of fun with this trailer. I was laughing along through the trailer. The weird moment of the eating, all of that's a lot of fun. Putting making it really clear that it has the Avatar shades. I like that as well. But there's an energy here that's a lot of fun. And I'm going to be curious to see what this film is like writing wise, because the guy who wrote this, Jesse Andrews, with the director Daniel Chong, is the guy who wrote Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, which is an unusual independent film from back in the mid 2000 or the 2015. And then he also wrote Luca. So I liked Luca because it was an unusual Pixar approach to a story like this. So I am actually really curious to see what we're going to get in Hoppers. And I liked Elio. I know people have issues with it and whatever, but I actually enjoyed the film for what it was. And I would have liked to have seen the other version as well. As the original version would have been interesting and probably more groundbreaking. But this feels like, look, we're going to put a film out here. There's probably going to be environmental commentary within it, but it's going to be a fun time. Everybody can enjoy it. Nobody can be upset about this, hopefully, and it'll be a commentary about what's going on. And I like the fact that they put something out there that I think all the time. Like everyone's like, animals are amazing, humans are terrible, animals are great. I love animals. It's like if you were in a real fucking world of animals, you wouldn't love animals quite so much because they're gonna eat and kill and fuck whatever they want because they're animals. So to me, I like this idea that this puts it on the table there that like this dude understood the chain, he got caught, and he's supposed to get eaten. That's the game. I love that they had that in the
arguably human beings do eat, kill, and fuck whenever they want to. So I don't know that we're so separate from them.
Separation. That's what I'm getting at. There's no fucking separation, So that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. Anyway,
so John Rocha hates animals, and also Hoppers comes out March 6th.
Hey, listen, I don't trust animals. That's the thing. I don't trust humans. Anyway, all right. Well, that's our trailer section. Thanks, Shannon, for leading us through all that. Let's jump into our DC thing an hour into our show here. Hello. That's why I asked these gentlemen ahead of time if they had any time limits. Let's get into DC. A lot of stuff broke this week with DC, including Tatiana Siegel's article over Variety, which highlighted some of these things like Zaslav and Gunn taking their early victory lap over the opening weekend box office numbers of Superman, it being labeled quote unquote good enough by some of the people who were box office analysts here, confirming that the film cost $225 and made and another $125 marketing wise. But it has been doing well this week, winning, I think, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in terms of the highest Monday and Tuesday, Wednesdays of 2025 box office wise. Also talked about the earning potential or the earning amount that everyone was paid, all their salaries. But the big thing was that she pointed out that a Wonder Woman film is being fast-tracked by the studio, and they were thrilled over the Batman Part 2 script and that there's more coming from DC down the road here with all this stuff. And we got ourselves a new Supergirl poster that James Gunn posted. Instead of saying look up, we are supposed to look out for Supergirl, which I thought was really cool. So, Michael, your thoughts on all this stuff happening here, the Superman box office, the Batman 2 script that they're thrilled about, the Wonder Woman news, and Supergirl posters. Where are you at right now with DC?
I mean, I am tired of hold on, sorry. My phone rang. Messed things up for a minute. I'm tired of everybody talking about the Superman box office. Like the argument. Well, just like it's like I like we all talk about box office and
for every film.
Like the everybody spinning every number to suit their is. As opposed to just like we are past the Superman did well. Like to John's point, the only thing that I really care about box office, it's not my money. No one's giving me a paycheck for Superman.
True.
All I care about is did a thing that I like do well enough that I'm going to get more of the thing that I like. And whether you agree with it or not, or go, well, the Man of Steel did this, and then it should have done this. Like, there's no should have. Like, the Snyderverse kind of happened, and for Warner Brothers made, for a bunch of different reasons, decided not to continue with it. And based on Superman's performance, we're definitely going to get more of this. Like, that's where we're at right now. Like, Supergirl is definitely coming out. Yeah. Clayface is definitely coming out. And then we'll see how those do. But like, I just am like, I'm so exhausted by everybody posting every number and half of the internet going, look, it did amazing. And half of the internet going, nope, that's a disaster. This movie's a flop. Like, the movie's not a flop. Like, I went to go see it Tuesday night at the Chinese theater, and the Chinese theater was packed. And then when you looked at Tuesday's box office, you saw why. Clearly people are showing up for this movie, but like, all I really care about is that we're going to get more of this universe, which at this point, I think it's safe to say that we are. So that's what I think about the box office. Now, when it's making $1 billion, I'll say it's great, but like, I don't think it's going to make $1 billion. The Supergirl poster, I was already super amped for this, but that's a great poster. I think, like I said on Twitter, whoever took the look up and look out thing and figured that out should get a raise. Marketing raise for that person. That's brilliant. I've been really diving back into DC Comics like all week long. Like, seeing Superman kind of got me amped, and I've been catching up on a bunch of things. And I just went back and reread Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. And I know James Gunn keeps saying he's super excited about that script. If that script has half of the amazing vibes that are in that comic, that movie is poised to blow people away even more than the people who are really liking Superman. Yeah. Supergirl could eclipse what Superman did this year at the box office if they nail that movie. So I am very excited for that. The Wonder Woman. No, go ahead.
Let's stop there, and then we'll swing to the Wonder Woman discussion next. I want to let Shannon dive in. Shannon, your thoughts on the Superman box office and this Supergirl poster. What do you think of this? And the fact that they're predicting that this might be less than 50% drop, which would be pretty amazing for a superhero movie in this day and age. Your thoughts on what you're hearing and what you thought about all this?
I mean, I enjoyed the movie. Again, we've talked to we're blue in the face about was it a 100%? No. But there was enough right in it that it got us excited to see more adventures with these characters. And I think in the face of it, you know, not being like a total bomb, like, we were gonna get more. Like, Supergirl's done. Like, we're gonna see that movie. We're gonna see Lanterns. We're gonna see Peacemaker season 2. The fact that it did overperform by $3 million or overperform what they initially thought, like, that's great. So knowing that, I do understand Vogel's point of view about it made enough money. It is going to be, is it going to be the biggest success of the year? Probably not, but it made enough to justify the cinematic universe moving forward. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, and we will stop talking about it next week when Fantastic Four comes out, and then everything will be focused on Fantastic Four.
We'll be obsessed,
or we won't, because if Superman drops less than 50% and maintains, and then Fantastic Four has a soft opening, we won't stop talking about it. We're going to continue to be like, well, look at this and look at this and look at these numbers.
If we keep talking about it, it'll be in the positive. It will cease to be like, oh, it's a flop. Oh, it's a flop. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy that it is doing as well as it is doing. I hope it continues to do well, because at the end of the day, a comic book movie succeeding is good for us fans, because you can make the argument that, like, oh, you need something to flop, so they change course. Like, sometimes the squeaky wheel doesn't always get the grease. Sometimes it gets replaced. And if a bunch of superhero movies come out and bomb, studios might be like, you know what, let's not do this anymore. They're clearly tired of it. And even though, yes, we have had some real bad superhero movies in the age of the superhero, like post Iron Man, post 2008, I don't want to stop seeing them, because I still enjoy this genre as a whole. In terms of Supergirl, man, that was brilliant marketing. Like, I'm really curious if they came up with that at the same time, or if it was sort of a happy accident that we had this look up and you're like, oh, you know what, we can make Supergirl, look out. And the brief glimpse that we saw of Millie Alcott, I mean, I think really tees up what we are going to see next summer when she gets her own film.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm not tired about talking about the box office because I think it's tied into how people are analyzing the movie. And I hear you, Michael. There's some people are twisting, and certainly that's our life now. People twist facts and narratives to fit whatever they want to approach. I'm more just sitting back and watching it and analyzing, seeing the numbers and whatever. I've been impressed with the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday numbers. It's pretty impressive. The international numbers are still lagging, but we're going to really have a good picture by the end of the second weekend. And if this thing is still kicking ass and doing really well, then at that point, I think what Shannon was saying, all the flop conversations start to kind of diminish in volume. And we'll see, because right now with Fantastic Four, as you mentioned, Michael, right now it is projected to open 20% less domestically than Superman at the 100 to 110 range, which will be interesting to see if that's what happens. Now, we're about to get reviews. I'm going to see it Monday night. We're about to get people's reactions. So that might increase the number by the weekend. But for right now, that's what they're estimating. So it will be interesting to see that. But I think you should be happy if you're WB with how this film is progressing domestically. It's not dipping in the way that some other superhero films have. And that's a positive overall. So I think that's a good thing. Yeah.
Well, and the fact, I mean, again, and I was talking about this on Twitter yesterday too, the fact that on HBO Max right now, Christopher Reeve's Superman, Man of Steel, the Christopher Reeves documentary, and season 1 of Peacemaker have all gone up multiple hundreds of percent. Which means that a significant number of people, not just geeks, are seeing Superman and going back to Max to look at other stuff, whether that is the other versions of Superman that came before Superman, or stuff that they know is tied into this new DCU. And I think that also is an indicator that the audience is here, because what people don't consider is that it's not a one-to-one, like Man of Steel versus Superman. Like Man of Steel came out at a time when we had not had a Superman movie since Superman Returns. People were very excited about superhero movies at the time. And this was DC going, we're ready to catch up to what Marvel's doing. And people were really excited about a new version of Superman. And then with Batman versus Superman and Aquaman and other things, like you had some high points in there with Wonder Woman and some other movies, but the DC universe over time eroded to the point where people lost a lot of faith in that franchise. So Superman, Gunn Superman coming out wasn't just we haven't had a Superman movie in a decade. It was like, we're rebooting this universe that you've lost faith in. So the fact that it's doing what it's doing, that it's maintaining, we'll see how the second weekend does, and that people are revisiting DC movies. It feels like if you're inside Warner Brothers right now, you're going, oh, all right, we're on the right path. Even if we didn't blow everything out of the water, we're on the right path.
Yeah, and speaking of which, we should say this as a plug right now with the Geek Buddies. There is a Geek Buddies Cinephiles crossover happening right now with Michael Vogel joining Steve Morris and I on the Cinephiles to break down and discuss 1978 Superman, the original Superman. We did this as our third episode on the show 9.5 years ago, 9.5 years ago. And we're back to revisit it this time around. And part 1 will be up on the Geek Buddies podcast feed on Sunday as we're recording this, and the part 1 is already up if you are a subscriber for Cinephiles, up on the podcast feed for people to listen to. So that's a crossover, and we also put our spoiler review on the for Superman on the Cinephiles podcast feed, which has been up for the last 3 or 4 days. So it's a lot of conversation, a lot of talking, but we are crossing over, so it's a lot of fun here to talk about that. The Supergirl poster, I did a short on it. I'm trying out shorts on the channel, and I love the poster. I love the energy of it. I mean, that cameo was it. Thanks for watching my dog, bitch. It speaks all my languages. So I love this. I'm looking forward to it. Millie Alcock is the shit. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to get with Supergirl.
Just real quick, having reread Women of Tomorrow, something that occurred to me, and it'll be interesting to see how it translates. But for people who love Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder's portrayal, of Superman Clark Kent, which I just watched rewatched Man of Steel the other night just because it had been a minute, and with all the discussion, I wanted to see it. The portrayal of Supergirl in Woman of Tomorrow is closer to what Cavill and Snyder did in Superman than what James Gunn did with Superman. So there's a world where you go see Supergirl next year and you go, yeah, that's what I want. That's my kind of superhero. If you are a fan of that side of the superhero genre.
Yeah, that may be why it's speaking my language, is because I love Man of Steel so much. But let's move on to the Wonder Woman situation. I'll bring this picture up again. This, as I said earlier, the report there from Tatiana Sigro Variety is that Wonder Woman is being fast-tracked. And the other side of this, it's come out from El Miambi there, Humberto Gonzalez at the Rap, my brother there. He was saying that DC Studios will reportedly look for an actress with a TV-centric resume for Wonder Woman, much like Millie Alcock was chosen. So you hear this. Shannon, I'll go to you first on this one. Do you like the idea that they're looking for a TV-centric actress to be a part of this? We talked about some of the actors in our previous stories here on this particular episode, looking for actors who've got some experience here in front of the camera. What are your thoughts on this?
Yes, I think that's. I think it's good to go for someone. Again, the old model. If you're not famous, you're gonna play a hero with no mask. So I think that is the right way to go. Like, obviously, you want a seasoned enough performer that they're going to be able to carry a film. But also you want someone that is not bringing any baggage to the role, that this is going to be, for a generation of moviegoers, this is going to be Wonder Woman. So I think that is the right, that's the right path to take. And also, I mean, I hope they go something that I do think they did right with Gal Gadot, even though I don't think she was the strongest performer. I like that they went international. I mean, I think Wonder Woman should feel international. Like, this is someone that is she is not American. She is not from the US. Like, she needs to come from another part of the world.
Yeah. What about you, Michael? Do you like this idea that they're fast tracking Wonder Woman? And do you like the idea of how they're looking at who they want to cast for this?
Yeah, from day one, when James Gunn made his announcement, and I think we talked about it, I always thought it was curious that we had this Paradise Lost TV series about the Amazons and Themyscira, but we didn't really have a Wonder Woman announcement. And we knew what they were doing with Superman, and we had the Batman Brave and the Bold thing, but Wonder Woman wasn't a part of it. So I don't know what changed or who said what to whom to go, oh, we really do need to do this, but I'm glad that they are. Because I think that Trinity, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, if you get all three of them right, and they are all in a franchise together, you're golden. You are good. Like, you're set. Like, and because the way those three play off of each other, when, again, I'm speaking to my opinion and my interpretation, but when you have Superman as the ultimate good guy Boy Scout who saves squirrels and has a pet dog, and you have Batman as the dark and brooding, fucked up detective who wants to do everything on his own and doesn't need anybody, and then you bring in this Greek goddess who is a warrior and has been a warrior for a long time and has no trouble killing anybody, where these two both have their issues with killing. When you get those three right, it's awesome. So, and to have them, I think it's a good sign when you go, we know we've got Supergirl coming out. So we have a female-led superhero movie coming out a year from now as their second big feature release. And we're going to get Wonder Woman. So you don't get that thing where they're like, all right, well, we did one for the ladies. Now let's get back to the good stuff. Like, it really feels, and again, even though I feel like Isabella Merced's Hawk Girl didn't have a ton to do in Superman, she's floating around there too. So we've there's a really strong female presence in a way that doesn't feel like they're going, we need to do girl. It's not the end of Avengers Endgame. It's not the, look, we're doing girl power. These are all females that, like, if you're a comic book fan, you want to see them no matter your gender. And it's nice to see them all being represented. So I hope they get it right. And then however Batman lands, we'll see how he fits into the mix.
Yeah, and I find it fascinating. Zaslav was talking about a 10-year plan and all of this. The same dialogue that Feige used from the beginning. So they've got a 10-year plan. That's great. But if you're fast-tracking stuff, then the plan is being changed, isn't it? So To me, I like the idea because I think they have the confidence, right? They feel confident coming out of Superman. Whatever Superman ends up being, and a lot of people predicting maybe 750 now with how well it's doing this week. Daily at the box office, great. But clearly they feel that they're moving in the right direction. They're using that goodwill to move in the right direction because following up Superman, no offense, with Supergirl and Clayface, those aren't like at the level of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. So clearly they see that, look, fast-tracking Wonder Woman is important here. The Batman is a convoluted mess they're going to have to figure out at some point. Yes, I'm glad they're thrilled about the Batman Part 2 script, but what are you going to do about the Brave and Bold? Because James keeps insisting as recently as last week during the Superman press tour that the script is still being worked on for the Brave and the Bold. So that's got to be hammered out in some way. So fast tracking Wonder Woman makes sense because there's not that drama with it like there is with Batman. And people love Wonder Woman and want to see it back on our big screens. And I wonder if there's a couple of actresses that James is already looking at and have had conversations with for the last few months who they want to grab immediately before that actress becomes too big or grabs that next massive project. So I wonder if that's another reason why they're fast tracking it as well. But I like the idea and the approach to it because you want another big hitter in the pipeline immediately so that people look at Supergirl and Clayface as, okay, I'm going to see these because it's not necessarily the full next step. It's something I have to watch to get to the next thing. And the next thing I'm looking forward to is Wonder Woman. So I think that makes sense. And they'll still enjoy both of these movies, hopefully, but they'll know that Wonder Woman's coming next and then eventually Batman too. So yeah. So I like all of that. Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah, sure.
Now we all, I think, had the same opinion of this when the Batman came out, and we all loved it, and we loved what Matt Reeves had done, and we loved this universe. Yeah. When these discussions came up about the DC universe and Matt Reeves' universe, I think we all kind of had this. Matt Reeves' universe is so specific, it won't fit in with whatever they're doing. Like, I think you need to let this universe, this is not a world, Matt Reeves' world isn't a world where you can have superheroes flying around. Like, just leave it alone. Like, that was, I think all three of us kind of had a pretty strong opinion. And I think a lot of people did. Social media in the past week and a half since Superman has come out, the desire to see David Corenswet and Robert Pattinson together has grown exponentially, I would say. So to you two, do you still feel the same way about Matt Reeves' universe, or would you like to see the darkness of Matt Reeves' Gotham and the brightness of James Gunn's Metropolis in one universe together? Shannon, what do you think?
Yeah.
I think it has less to do with the universe, and I look at what you get with the individual iterations of that character. Because if you're getting Pattinson's Batman, which granted that Matt Reeves' universe has been expanded by the Penguin, if you're getting Pattinson's Batman, you are getting a guy who is out there by himself and a guy that has just now started to be known to the public. Are the worlds very different? Yes. I think in a world of metahumans that have been around for 300 years, at some point in the Batman or the Penguin, that gets name dropped. So I think I feel like you're trying to jerry-rig something together. I think with the Gunn version of Batman, which again, the Gunn version of Batman, maybe we won't like it. I don't know, but we've never gotten the comic booky Batman, and talking about some of those broader villains like the Clayface, like a good iteration of Mr. Freeze or Poison Ivy, like getting to see something like Man-Bat. I don't know how those characters would work in a Reeves universe. I mean, there's probably a way, but I feel like with a new Batman, that is what you get. I love the passion that people have, that they like the Battinson enough that like, let's put these two together. But I think when you are constructing this universe from the ground up, that feels like a complication that you don't need to do.
I've always, I've been saying this recently, like, I don't read a Batman comic for a Superman story. I don't read a Superman comic for a Batman story, right? But I don't want to just use that as the reason anymore. Like, now that I've seen Superman, there's dark stuff in Superman. Okay. Lex Luthor kills someone point blank, shoots him in the fucking head in front of Superman. Luthor is keeping a child from Metamorpho and torturing him to commit atrocities on people in order to save his child, right? There are deaths in Superman. There's some real hardcore approach to destroying the world in Superman. And so there's a little more darkness than anything. When people turn on Superman, it's pretty brutal. And you've got Jor-El's commentary that you should fuck all these ladies and run the world. So
rule the world and rape them hoes. Like that's it's not.
I don't know, rape. He didn't say rape. He just said having little kids. So this thing here. So there are darker elements in Superman than people think. For all the goofiness and kaiju and all of that stuff. In Batman, remember the end of the Batman is him coming to a place of hope. The sun is coming up. All right, the dark, moody, emo 1990s, paint my fingernails black shit. That was the journey of the movie. But by the end of the movie, he's like, I have to be part of humanity again. I have to embrace humanity again. I have to care for these people. I can't just, it's not just about saving them. I actually have to legitimately care about them. So I think there is more of a possibility to meld these worlds than there was before I saw Superman. So, and because you're not going to get a kaiju in Batman. And guess what? You rarely get kaijus in Batman. It doesn't happen in the stories. So you do get that in Metropolis, though. So it's just different things. And I think you can mix them together. It doesn't say that, it doesn't mean that I think they will, but I think it's more possible now than it was before I saw Superman. So that's my answer.
I think I agree with Johnny more than Shannon. I don't know that they will, mainly because I know that James Gunn clearly wants to do the Damian story, which by definition means there's other Robins prior to Damian, which is why we have a Teen Titans movie in development, which means that Batman would be older. So there's
Michael, and the two Robins one that he's been working on as well, right?
That's animated and could potentially not be in continuity. I'm still not clear on if they're animated, because they've said they want to do two movies once they get going. They want to do 2 live action movies and 1 animated movie a year. And I don't know if the animated movies are in continuity the way Creature Commandos is or not. But yes, if it is, so like I do think in the way that he has sort of started to build the architecture of his universe, he's thinking of an older Batman that has had several Robins and a lot of stuff has already happened. But there does seem to be an ease to, look, we got a Batman franchise that works.
Yeah.
Now we have a Superman franchise that works. We're fast tracking Wonder Woman. And if we just put all this Robin stuff to the side, to Shannon's point, yes, right now Matt Reeves has built a grounded universe where the Riddler is very grounded and Selina is very grounded and everything is grounded. But that doesn't mean that you can't do a Batman of a Gotham City where you get here's where they would win in my book. If they were somehow able to keep this entire thing under wraps about what they were doing, and you get to the end of that Clayface movie, and either Robert Pattinson shows up, or whoever you're casting as Batman that you somehow kept under wraps, which is never going to happen, showed up, and people would lose their shit. But I do think that, to John's point, I don't know if they're going to do it. I still think they are going to stubbornly keep Matt Reeves' universe over here and kind of do their own thing with Batman. And that might end up working great for them. So we'll see. But I think the potential for them to do it makes more sense to me now than it did prior to me seeing Superman.
You have to override James Gunn's ego. He wants to be in control. Matt Reeves is clearly in control of the Matt Reeves verse of Batman. Will James cede some of that control over? Will they be able to work together? Because all that conversation about, oh, look, they're producing stuff together as if they're buddies sitting in a room sharing an office, shooting paper balls into a trash can. That's not what's happening. They're running their own separate sides of the thing of DC. And yes, they're showing up at each other's premiere. Yes, they're talking about, but how many co-interviews have you seen with both of them? Exactly. And that's the thing that you're looking at here. So,
well, why would they right now? There's no reason to right now.
Because there's a way to do that that's really positive. Matt Reeves could sit in with James Gunn on an interview about Superman and how excited he is about the movie and how much he loved the movie.
Why would the writer of the when does that ever happen in Marvel?
I think that's how you quiet all the talk. You would have them both come on and have a fun conversation with a podcaster that you trust, and you put to rest all that shit. But the truth is, all that shit is there because it isn't time for them to put it to rest yet. Just saying. But we will see.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Also,
maybe.
There's no reason in the world for them to do that, but sure.
I just gave you one. Anyway, all right. Hey, Shannon, any final words on this before we wrap up?
No.
Okay, we're there. Thank you all so much for joining us for our supersized annual version of the Geek Buddies here this week. Right before these gentlemen head off to Comic-Con. I'm still deciding if I'll come down for a day or two. We will see. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us here. Hope you enjoyed everything we had to talk about. Shannon, what do we have to tell them?
Yeah, if you'd like to follow us on social media, on Twitter, it's at geek_buddies, on Instagram at _geek_buddies. If you'd like to follow me on social media, on Twitter, it's at Shannon_McClung, on Instagram, it's Shannon the Geek Buddy. If you'd like to follow Mr. Vogel, it is at MK2, and if you'd like to follow Mr. Rocha, it is at The Rocha Says. And yes, if you're at Comic-Con next week, we're going to be down there with Mr. Mike Kalinowski as well, and our buddy Jonathan Gabay. If you see us, please come say hi. We've had some lovely conversations in the past, and I hope we get to continue that tradition this year.
There you go. Mikey.
Go ahead and smash that like button below. Subscribe to Johnny's Outlaw Nation page, soon to be the John Rocha page. But either way, subscribe because you don't want to miss any of the amazing content that's going on over here, no matter what it's called. Leave your comments below. What do you think about Judge Dredd, Harry Potter casting, My Little Pony movies, Hoppers, Stranger Things, Mortal Kombat, DC Universe, Batman, Battinson, whoever it is, leave your comments below. If you're listening to us on a podcast, go ahead and leave us some stars and some comments so we go up in the rankings. And as always, the best thing you can do is retweet this video, post it on your social, send it to your friends, and tell them to hang out with your buddies, the Geek Buddies.
You were sliding into Harry Carey. What's your favorite planet?
Listen, if the room was made of green cheese.
All right, there you go. One final plug. As I said earlier, Geek Buddies and the Cinephiles are doing a crossover right now. Michael Vogel is our guest as we're breaking out 1978 Superman. You can listen to it on our podcast feed on the Cinephiles, or wait to listen on the Geek Buddies podcast feed here on Sunday. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of the
Geek
Buddies! Hey!